are all in one budget. Overtime maintenance, weekend coverage, we're going to just cut the grass a little less, do the lines in the field a little less, rake the beach a little less. We still have to pick up the trash at the beaches, but that's the overtime work that goes into Parks and Rec. Beach security, it's a $10,000 new figure. We cut that by $1,000. And lastly, materials by the Parks and Rec. They have about a $50-some-odd-thousand materials for fertilizer, for weed control and all that, and we cut that by $2,000. Your actual figure is $101,000 cut, and so we overachieved a little bit there. Thought you'd like that. I can answer any questions.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. If you could note for the record that Jason has to leave, Karen. 7:15, 7:37.
We can
Thanks.
go on. You
Thanks,
asked me to cut if there are any questions, but we can go on to capital. We made some cuts there. We struggled. We just don't want to be cutting it, into these CNRE accounts. And I know you feel the same. I know you give me the cuts and then say, well, yeah, but it's not. It's foolish if we start cutting out HVAC systems and roofs, et cetera. So we did cut out $5,000 in the CAD software. Downstairs says they can go without the CAD software update. Various town projects, we cut out $6,611. Financial software, we cut that package out and moved it out at least 1 year. If not, based on what this economy is doing in the state, we might have to just use abaci. And the police cruisers, Anna has a proposal to use some of the found money we have in our CNRE or our. But to set you up, we're going to cut out the police cars that were proposed in the budget and try to pay for them with leftover money that we have allocated. That's probably a better setup for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So that represents one vehicle, one police cruiser, two?
You cutting out both police cars and then replacing them both with your proposal?
Well, we have, in this year's acquisition plan, we have, we purchased we had a trash truck in the plan, and we purchased one that was on the lot already, so it was like a prior year model. So we had savings there, and the other was with the dump truck. And then we had one other item where we had, because we did trade-ins. So we have funds remaining with the allocations in this year's acquisition program. So because of the dollar amount, it made sense to apply them to the police vehicles.
And so if I remember correctly, when I proposed that reduction, it was reducing not both vehicles, one.
So instead of putting into
The
next
yearly
year's tax, on the backs of the taxpayers next year, we're able to use money that's already been appropriated and just knock it off this year.
Money that's already been appropriated or just money in the
How do you describe it, Anna?
undesignated fund balance?
No, this is funds that we have in this year's acquisition program, the 5-year financing deal. And because when we do the deal, we get estimates and we base the deal on those estimates. Well, we were just able to do so much better, so we have remaining funds. We're going to have to go through the appropriations process to appropriate the funds because we're using them for other than the original intended purposes.
So what would happen if the funds were not appropriated for another purpose? They would just go back to.
Well, the issue with that is when we do the acquisition program, let's say it's for $800,000. We get the $800,000 and it's put into an escrow account. So we're obligated for that $800,000. So the fact that we have funds remaining in that pool of funds, we need to repurpose them and use them for something else.
Could they be repurposed into the undesignated fund balance?
No. These are acquisition funds. They're part of our financing plan, our 5-year financing plan. And those funds are in an escrow account, and we need to use them for a
Could you
purpose.
use them to pay down debt? If
No.
you were,
No,
so you're limited as to how you can repurpose those funds?
correct. It's too large of an amount, if the percent you have remaining in a deal is more than 4% of your original deal, they don't allow you to use them to pay down on the principal. So because of the dollar amount, we need to use them to purchase some form of equipment. And so it made sense, because of the amount that we have remaining, to use them for the police vehicles.
So the dump truck that we got pictures for, is that the one that you got a better price? About 2 meetings ago, we got all kinds of color glossy pictures of dump trucks.
Those are the vehicles that are proposed to be replaced in the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, that's not the one that you, okay. And are you talking about replacing both police vehicles or one?
Two.
Both?
Two. And then the thought was, for the difference, to use funds that are available in CNRE from prior sale of vehicles.
They need 2 vehicles. The 2 vehicles that they're gonna replace are in bad shape. Don't forget, these things are running all the time.
Yeah, they do.
They have a lot of
100,000
mileage
miles
on
every
them,
2 years
3,
or
4,
something
5
like that.
years. We keep them for 5 or 6 years. But they need to be replaced. We only bought one last year, which through, if you buy 2 a year, you have your acquisition program, you have flow. We got off the track a little bit. We got to at least put 2 back on the road this year.
Tell me again, Mark, how many vehicles in total that are in the fleet?
We
13, 14?
I would say
I think
that's
13 or
more.
14 titled to the town. They're not all working at any one time. Some are in accidents, some are in overhauls, and some, we've had several accidents this year with 2 accidents, I think. And one broke down for a long period of time, and we had to get that back up and running. I don't know if it was a transmission or something else, but there's always that too. I think we had 3 or 4 vehicles that were not operational in the heat of summer.
So there's about 1 vehicle for every 2 officers, more or less. And you're assuming an asset life of about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
I can check. I have a report. I can check and send them an email tomorrow.
Okay.
On how many vehicles now.
So those are the cuts that you've asked me to, asked Anna and I to work on. We brought department heads back in. We crunched the numbers and we came up with the numbers that you requested.
Well, as we've said on many occasions, we only make suggestions. You're at the head of the town, so I think you're best able to decide where the cut should come from. So I would be in favor of approving these to the line item budget detail. I don't know if anybody else
I'll make
has.
a motion to approve the proposed town budget as amended.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
And that includes the capital, correct? I mean, we can make it.
Yeah.
I think we need a motion to move on the Board of Ed budget. Unless you wanna-
I think you just give them a figure and they take it.
Yeah.
We need a motion for the Board of Ed? We've already decided that.
Do we need a motion to
No.
move that on for the public hearing?
I think you've already
We've already
made
handled the Board
the
of
cut.
Ed.
The cut is the cut.
Yeah.
And if there's no other, unless somebody would like to entertain a different motion at this point, or an additional motion, but,
Not yet.
okay. Yeah, so no motion is required for the Board of Ed this evening. With that, I think that includes budget deliberations for this evening. We meet again next Monday evening at 6:30 or 7 at the high school. 7 o'clock at the high school auditorium. That's for the public hearing on the budget. So what we'll do is present the budget to the town. open up the floor for delegations, comments, and then at the conclusion of the budget hearing, we'll move to the TV room at the high school where we can further deliberate. I'm not sure that we'll have any new information at that point. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see.
Do you want,
We have a Board of Ed meeting on the 24th at 7 o'clock in that room,
In the TV room?
in the TV room.
So we'll be in the auditorium at 7 o'clock. How long will your meeting go?
Executive session.
yeah, midnight.
We're gonna, at least.
We can do it right where
Okay.
we are.
Can we do it right in the auditorium then? Do we have to move?
It's gonna be private.
Okay, let me look at it tomorrow.
What are we saying?
There's a conflict
You
of,
know, I heard that part.
I'll work with Anna to figure it out.
Okay.
But why can't we just vote then from there?
I was shocked, I hadn't heard
We
that
have
yet.
to fill the form out.
Okay, we'll talk tomorrow, we gotta figure it out.
Is this a special meeting?
from the 40, right?
Right. But
So it'll be like two.
No, but it's complicated.
Oh, I know, right? Right, it's ridiculous. Do we need to have that meeting taped? Can we just stay where we are in the auditorium?
Yeah.
Well, the auditorium tapes too, because that runs live. The auditorium runs it live, doesn't he run it live?
No.
Well, no, because we're gonna be running live in the.
Oh, you're gonna be running
in our-
live.
yeah.
You won't, there won't be any
So we're
TV.
running live at the auditorium, we can just tape.
Unless you came down
They'll
here.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna tape us when we have a meeting in the auditorium.
Oh, I wouldn't have,
You can tape.
yeah.
It'll be live on channel 22, but it won't be
No.
recorded,
This is gonna
or
be
it'll be
live.
recorded but not
Yeah,
taped.
ours is.
Right, it's gonna be
All the
recorded.
equipment is in
Won't be
the
live.
TV
I thought
room.
we were ever live in the past. We always ran, oh, we were? Yes.
In the TV room.
Let us know what y'all decide.
Yeah.
About our meeting.
We'll have to check into
We'll
things.
talk tomorrow.
Interesting.
But if you're going to be in executive session, you're not going to tape that.
No, we won't, but our meeting, our general meeting will run at least an hour, so. If there
Okay.
are any questions on the Board of Ed stuff, I want to be part of your meeting as well, so we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm sure you wanna like probably call on the first selectman, the Board of Ed, superintendent here and
Yeah,
there for
yeah.
input, yeah.
To-
That's what
Yep.
happened
Yeah.
last year.
Presentation,
Exactly, yeah.
we'll do a presentation.
It's 7
We did a
o'clock,
little
Monday.
mini overview.
Right.
last year.
Maybe yours is Tuesday.
Well, I'd be able to present the budget, but I don't know how I'd be able to present any details behind the budget.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking that was part of public discussion. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to address the board this evening? Yes, please, Lisa. Good evening.
Good evening, Lisa Timothy, Library Director. This is probably not pertinent to tonight's meeting, but I'm just an observation from the other side of the table with the budgets. The biggest thing I have to increase in my budget every year is the health insurance. 12%, 15%, 24%, 22% were thrown around last year. Without that in my budget, I would be well below the 2.5% you asked me to be with everything I wanted, Sundays, restoration of the materials budget and whatnot. So I just want to ask you as our elected officials that at some point, the mess with the health care has to get straightened out. You're all being asked to put together a budget in a very unfair way. You don't have any control over that number. I don't have any control over that number. But with that number under control, most of tonight's discussion wouldn't be necessary. Just wanted to put that out there and ask, our elected officials on behalf of all of us, bipartisan, that needs to get straightened out. It's not fair to any of us. It's not fair to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to address the board? Hearing none, we'll go on to board comments. Would anybody like to speak?
No, I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Okay,
Ditto.
okay. No board comments this evening, Karen. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Night.
thank you.